get interested into it, but from the core of my heart, I long to be an entrepreneur. So just
ideally, I would say that about 3 years. 3 years work outside. Multiple reasons. One is that you understand what is it like life of an employee. Okay, you have to take orders. You can't talk back. Okay, so that's one. The second is that you understand how it is like running the business. If your employees come back and tell you this is what it is, whether you want to accept it or not, you will know, and they will know that this guy knows what he is talking about. Okay, you will command a lot more respect. If you have proven yourself outside, you command a lot more respect.
So another last.
But at the same time, there may be compelling situation within the business where you can't afford to spend 3 years outside because the family needs that involvement. So you may have to compress it. But the essential thing is your own preparedness to take different roles and then moving on. I think that's the fundamental.
And one simple last question, that I am now working as a banker, right? So I feel that as a banker, so I feel that wouldn't that be experience be more important, that if I go into say the manufacturing thing which my dad is doing, be a vendor of say Havel's company. So why not to just go into companies, take the experience from their end? So that could be adding to more focused kind of thing, rather than having an experience of say some other sector and then again dragging yourself towards say entrepreneurship.
I would say that sector is immaterial. Level is important. See, if you are in, let's say that if you are in Colgate or Unilever as a marketing executive versus in a mid-sized company, if you are exposed to multiple disciplines, see, you should be groomed to take challenges of looking at the big picture and the challenges of taking the decision, optimizing differently. I think that kind of an experience is very valuable. So even if you work as a sales executive for 1 year and next 1 year you work at the higher level, I think that kind of experience, because when you come to an entrepreneurial venture or a family venture, you aren't going to take over the responsibilities at a senior level. So I think you have to compress that time. So the work at the lowest level, minimal time, get some experience, but move on to slightly more generalized strategy kind of experience. But not sitting back and making strategy document. Okay. Yeah. It's not preparing strategic.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
In addition to the point what you said, I have one really small point to address. As you mentioned in the family business, families business same thing. They discuss business at home, at office, be it anywhere. They discuss the same thing. I have been groomed in such a manner. I have seen my business growing everywhere. When in the bedroom when I'm sitting with my father, he's doing the same thing. As a child, I have seen, okay, this is what is happening, the experiences, how to interact with people, how to talk to them about businesses, and all those issues. When I passed my graduation and I came to business, I said, okay, I can handle it because I have seen those things. I can understand because I get the acumen, okay, this is going to handle things. But still, I felt resistance to not matured enough. Though the concept, the ideas were perfect. But then still resistance is there. The reason being, the dynamics of the business has changed over the time. Right. When my father was in the business, he was like, I can't take much big risk. But when I'm in the business, I think if you don't take a risk, you will not move forward. Right. That gap starts becoming bigger. And then, even if I'm interested, I would say I better not do it. And I become a parallel setup point. Instead of becoming a hand, I become a parallel setup. An experience for a person is not necessarily always being working or at the grassroots level. It can happen even by observing and being at that place. So, how do you address these kind of issues when generations like me come in? I mean, there are many people sitting out here, they face the same thing. Probably even he would have joined the banking business because he said, if I say something, my father would say, yeah, you have less experience, just learn from me. Right. But probably his thought process is much faster, maybe not that accurate, but that fast. The thing of thinking is much faster than his father's thing. How do you address these kind of issues? For people, generations like us, yes, you can do it this way.
Yeah, I think this is a critical challenge faced by youngsters, the new generation across the country. Particularly with new openings, new opportunities are there, you have to think big. I would say that there are multiple approaches required. One is that there has to be a better dialogue between the senior and the junior generation. Okay. You may have to facilitate, you may have to get somebody else to discuss that, facilitate that. That he should understand the implications of any of your stuff. This is one. And also, sometimes my son reminds me that he is already 17. Okay. I treat him like a kid, and he says that, no, I'm already 17. Okay, so I can take some of the decisions. So I think that kind of an attitudinal shift is, this is one part. The second is that I think it is useful to write business plans for whatever it's worth before you venture into new areas. Because if you are thinking about a new venture, better venture, it may be bigger, but by writing a business plan, what you understand is that you are looking at the landscape completely. Business plan is a dynamic document. It's not a one-time exercise and leave it aside. But if you write a business plan, my experience is that when you write a business plan, you look at the market, you look at the technology, you look at the organization, you look at the execution, risk is involved. And if you can, not only convince your father, but also some of the couple of other people, that this is a venture and there is a roadmap for managing the risk, then there is no problem. I think that's the simple thing. But what problem I find with the youngsters often is that they don't write a business plan. They don't look at the business in totality. Either you finish your studies and come back and you are part of a network. You think that so-and-so has done it, so-and-so has done it, so I can also do it. I don't buy that. So the best way to address this is that if you have a business idea, if you want to do it differently, how is it? Logically show it. And if you want to consult somebody, if you want to involve somebody, either a family friend or a well-wisher or even somebody else, then bring them and then have the discussion. And I don't say that all parents are going to accept it, but at least there is a better chance. Because often we don't bring all the complete picture on the table, we bring the emotions on the table. Instead of emotions, bring the logic. And you may realize that this is not the venture I chose. That you will get it. For instance, power sector, infrastructure system. Many people jump into that. And when you detail out under what conditions some of these ventures will succeed, you will realize that that's not for me. It's okay for somebody else. Or I need another partner to get it. So therefore, writing the good business plans. For heaven's sake, don't commission a chartered accountant to write business plans. Due respect to all the chartered accountants. Chartered accountants prepare project reports that are good on paper, feasible, which the bank can own. Okay, so write it for yourself.
My point is not just for the new business venture, because even continue.
You can have the business plan can be for a new venture or growth. Chartered accountant.
Yeah. Okay. Just a quick question. He's given the introduction. You see these succession issues staring in the face as an outsider with some of your clients. How do you condition the client to see them as well?
I find there are 3 or 4 categories of people. And this is one of the reasons I happily accepted the thought came that I would come here and share these thoughts. Primarily, I find that most of the, especially Indian SMEs or entrepreneurial family businesses, are not aware of a solution to this. And in one of the cases where I did a film on a family which is from Satna, Madhya Pradesh, where the decision was taken for division, 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6 sons. It was a mid-sized family, they divided, and then one of the brothers took the initiative, reversed the decision and came back, and they're doing very well. So I made a film on that family. So when I interviewed the father, he said that this is what the society is doing. And if I die without dividing the property and if they start fighting, the society will blame me. What kind of a father he was? He should have divided. So the typical approach is amazing. Okay, we are not aware of a solution to this. We think that this is the right thing, the default option. So one of the things is educate, create the awareness that there are other ways of addressing this. This is one thing. So the second is that there are people who are aware of the possibility of interceptors. I mean, people who have attended my conference, for instance, or this session, or any other session. There are people, but they don't know how to. I mean, it's more like watching the cricket match and say that Sachin Tendulkar is batting like this, and oh, he didn't do it properly, he should have done like this. Okay, a lot of us make comments, but it is easy to comment rather than practice. So, practicing, we don't know how to do it. This is one second. The third category of one more level, who are aware, who know what to do, who know how to do it, but they never do it. They postpone it, eternal postponement, until the whole thing comes into a flash point. Okay. The final category are people who have done it, who have succeeded. And there are larger number of people now. The numbers are growing. There are many families which are addressing it. They may not be 100% successful, but at least they have been able to diffuse some of the problems, been able to grow, they've been able to address some of the issues. And there are families which have been having fights or differences for 20 years trying to come together. And there are families which have grown from nowhere, small families, including the Satna family, which was only a tobacco trader. They have a couple of engineering colleges, management school, they have garment business, expanded. They are also into real estate. So there are examples of such families which are practicing. So I think that the starting, it's a dialogue. Often you have to persuade, persevere, pressurize, and say that you don't wait for the fire to come. I think that's a kind of a roadmap one has to follow.
Right. Can you identify yourself?
I'm Puneet Singh. Hello, I'm Puneet Singh. I'm right out of my college studies. I was at IIT Roorkee, and I'm soon to join my elder brother in this business. He was recently awarded the youngest, hottest young entrepreneur in India. Now, keeping this apart, my question was actually, when businesses grow and when they scale up, how do you divide operations and ownership? Now, one model was splitting up, which you disregarded because it lacks collective thinking. Another model is cross-holding, equal cross-holdings. You operationally you are independent of each other, but your ownerships are equal by cross-holdings. But that unnecessarily rewards the less meritocratic. So how do you actually handle between the two? Where is the mean line, or is there a third model?
I would suggest that have a holding company, the family holding company, and the holding company can have investment in multiple companies. So the company ownership structure doesn't affect the shareholders. So if there are 3 members of the family, you can have equal shareholding in the holding company. So the performance of all the group companies will be put into the holding company. And that provides flexibility in the sense that suppose you want to have a joint venture with somebody, you want to dilute some company, equity in some company, without affecting the family holding. And I will not be worried whether this company's holding is diluted or the other company's holding is diluted. Because for me, finally the holding company is diluted. So I think the pooling all the investments into one holding company, whether it's a holding company or it's one entity, it can be, it should be, probably, a private limited company, privately held, 100% privately held company. I think that's the best one. And then see within the company who is the right person to run the business. And ideally, I would go to the extent of retaining some people. So that your own loyalty doesn't get limited to one company. Your loyalty is towards the group. This is one way. If the capabilities are matching. Yet another way is that you have, larger some of the groups have done, or as they grow, is that you are responsible for what functions across, you have 3 companies. They are responsible for HR across the group, they are responsible for finance across the group, they are responsible for marketing across the group. So your loyalty is not towards any company. One classic example, which is a big company, which is the Rigapa Group. When M.P. Subbaiah took charge, when he transformed the group, and now that has grown really large, was to withdraw all the family members from the CEO position. As part of a changeover, the family members who were MDs of each company, they were taking care of, they were silos. One cousin was interested in this company, the other cousin was interested in the other company. And as part of it, all of them moved to the board level, the holding company. They said that the current chairman, he became the marketing head for the group. Somebody else became the technology head for the group. So when the decision, the question about divesting the Paris confectionery business came, it was a very simple decision. They looked at what are the implications for the group, and they decided, because it was a group decision. Okay, so the individual identity was only with the group, and not with any of the product, not with any of the. I think it has to happen early enough. And to some extent, even if that doesn't happen, at least some sort of rotation is helpful. Okay, and or at least if there is a cross, the board responsibilities are shared. Even that way, you can bring the involvement of other people. Okay, so essentially, there should be a lot of sharing happening at that time. You should not allow the islands to fall among the people.
Two last questions.
Hi, I just want to make a couple of points on the previous discussion. So very different from MNC. So a person who is working in an MNC cannot just say that I have been in MNC for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. I can just join a family business. I can change the entire world. That doesn't happen that way. So he has to understand that his family or his parents have been, grown up with that business. They understand the inside and outside of that business. And so there are certain things which are different in the family business as compared to MNC or any corporate world. That's one point. The second point I would like to make is a guy who wanted to join, is working in a bank right now. He would like to be an entrepreneur. I think first of all he needs to realize whether he wants to be an entrepreneur, who wants to start something from scratch, or he's passionate about his family business and want to get into that family business and do something about it. So these are just 2 points I wanted to make. Good questions. Thank you.
These are points raised. I don't have to respond.
Pardon me? Yeah, please.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
The MNC. See, the thing is that if you are a great cricket player, doesn't mean that you are a great football player.
Exactly.
Okay. You've done well in MNC, doesn't mean that you can do well in. So you have to adapt. You have to understand the ground and see how much you can fit. I think that's a simple thing for any of these. So again, starting a business versus joining a business also, I think it boils down to the quality of communication. The father or uncle should not assume that younger generation will automatically come and take the reins.
Correct.
And also the younger generation should not think that this seat is waiting for me to join.
Exactly.
Okay. So again, it comes back to the quality of communication discussion you have.
Correct.
Last question to myself. Most of us have grown in family businesses organically. And we find that having grown to a certain level, I as a manager, I was a stakeholder, I was a promoter, but I as a manager now have outgrown the role.
There is one company, Gurgaon, recently, he's only 45. He said that I'm going to retire from this company, not retire from business first, because he realizes that his own capabilities are largely in terms of identifying opportunity, building infrastructure. He recognizes that he is not the right person to build it up to the next level. Okay, so that realization is the big challenge.
So it's voluntary.
I think very often we don't realize that. This is the same thing with me. I mean, I'm 54. I still think that I'm 20. And I think that I can do many things that 20-year-old do. And I used to climb the trees and I think that I can do it even now. But the mental age and the physical age is very significant. Okay, and the capabilities challenge we reach the level of incompetence. Once you start getting some signal, if I try to climb the tree and if I can't climb beyond a level, that's a signal that I have to be cautious. I'm not the right person. So I think that's one. And proactively if you do that. And also the second thing is that if you do some sort of a 360 feedback from not only some key staff, maybe well-wishers, some of the other stakeholders, the good clients or the bankers also, I think that also will be good. The quality of decision making is good or not. And
Please, in applauding Professor Ramchandran, thanks a lot for such an evocative address. You said, I am happy when others are happy. You made us all very happy.